Hello. Hi, good morning. My name is Rochelle Rada. I'm a dietitian um, of this, involved in this family we have here. It's the BU Nutrition family. And I just wanted to get started. I'm going to be talking today about cholesterol. So, this is something you always hear. Um, Whether you go to your doctor, you might get labs if you're doing um, like your physical each year. So let's say you go to the doctor, you get your labs, and then you get your results, and it's mentioned that you have high cholesterol, or your bad cholesterol is high. So then your doctor tells you what you should do, but then you still go home and you're a little confused. So if you still need to know what to do to lower cholesterol, you're in a really great place, and I'm here to help you out along the way. So I'm going to just get started. A lot of times the biggest thing people say, they'll say to just stop frying foods, just eat a low-fat diet, and they'll just, remove the skin. And that's a really great starting point. And if you've gone that far, that's awesome, because just kind of making those little small changes along the way, it can be very helpful. It may seem like it's not as helpful, but just making those little small changes along the way are going to be really helpful with lowering your cholesterol. So yes, a lot of times people try to just start with lowering their saturated fats. So a lot of people have told me, okay, so I stopped eating meat, I stopped eating this and that, and I just eat fish and chicken. Okay, that's great. There might be hidden sources of saturated fats that you might not be aware of. So, for example, butter. Usually, saturated fats come from animal sources. So, butter is going to be one of them. If you are drinking whole milk, I'm not saying you have to stop drinking milk, but if you are drinking like whole milk and you love it so much, another thing you can do to try to slowly get you to the lower saturated fat, you can just try to mix it up. I'm never going to tell you to just completely get rid of something that you like. So if you drink like 1 cup of, you can do this in several ways. Let's say you drink 3 cups of whole milk each day. You could like reduce it. So instead of 3 cups, maybe like next week you can do 2 cups. And then when you're feeling comfortable, maybe just go to 1. On the other hand, you can kind of play around with the amount of milk you drink. So for example, if you're drinking 1 cup every day, let's say for 1 week, you will do 1/2 cup whole milk, then 1/2 cup 2%. So you still get that milk and that richness and that creaminess that you like, but then kind of taper it down until, if you feel comfortable, you can get to the skim milk. Again, it's always going to be what's best for you and what's your preferences, right? So especially if you like something, it's going to be hard if someone is always trying to take away everything. So I always kind of like to think of it as what can you add in to kind of help. Okay, so saturated fats, you can look at butter, you can look at the whole milk. Cheeses are going to be another thing to look out and be mindful. So I will definitely put in the comments too as I remember things. So don't worry about it. And a lot of times people just say, okay, eat more fruits and vegetables. Okay, well, what does that even mean? Like, why? Why am I eating more fruits and vegetables? How is this going to help me lower my cholesterol? So I'll go into that in the next, 5-10 minutes or so. So the 4th thing is to add into your eating pattern that can help lower your cholesterol. I'm going to talk about monounsaturated fats. I'm going to talk about omega-3 fatty acids. I'm going to talk about fiber, and then I'm going to talk about plant sterols or stanols. So those are the 4 things. But before I even get into that, I'm a visual learner. I need to know what's going on and why it's important to even watch your cholesterol. So I'm going to use that little demo. So let's say I'm eating a donut. So a donut can be higher in saturated fats because often they have butter in them, and it's folded into the flour. And it's so delicious. That's why it's so delicious, because of that butter component. So I'm going to eat my donut. It's going to go down into my digestive system, and then it gets broken down into what we know as like the cholesterol. So you can have, your HDL, your LDL, and oftentimes your LDL is what people know as the bad cholesterol. So what happens is a lot of times everyone's like, stay away from the bad cholesterol, your LDL cholesterol. So this is what happens. So you've eaten the donut, you've eaten things with fat in it, and over time, it doesn't happen like overnight. So don't be afraid to eat fat. But what happens is over time, the fat that gets broken down starts going into your arteries. See, over time, it starts going into your arteries. Okay. So you can't quite see, but let's say blood is trying to get through to all the other parts of your organ. After a while, all that broken down fat, all that cholesterol, it might be very, very difficult for the blood to go through. Unfortunately, this is what happens when people have a stroke or a heart attack, because there might be so much of that broken down fat, that cholesterol, it's clogging, so it can't get through. The blood can't get through to the heart, it can't get through to the brain. So I hope that was a good visual. Not here to scare you, but that's just kind of something to keep in mind. So that is something that people may not really connect. Like, why do I have to eat foods that are this and that to help with my cholesterol? Okay, so I'm going to get to it with the monounsaturated fats. So think of monounsaturated fats mainly as plant oils. There is a time and place for using bacon fat and butter and lard. There is a time and place for that. But if you can, try to, over time, substitute those butters, substitute the lard with the olive oil, the canola oil, the sesame oil. That will be very helpful. That's one way to help reduce your LDL cholesterol. Another is going to be eating more omega-3 fatty acids. And it can seem like a lot. So I will say, instead of trying to do everything all at once, try to find one of the 4 things that I'm going to talk about. Work on that first, and when you feel confident, then add in other things. So with the omega-3 fatty acid, it is polyunsaturated fatty acid. So with polyunsaturated fatty acids, you have 2 kinds. You have the animal and you have the plant. So the animal ways that you can find that is salmon, tuna, trout, and mackerel. So on the islands, we do have canned items. You can use that. So you might say, oh man, it's packed in oil. Well, again, try to look for like those kind of oils that I mentioned, right? So you're getting double dose of something helpful. You can always go for the frozen too. You can always go for the fresh. And I'm always going to be advocating for what's going to fit in your budget and what's the best for you. Because sometimes people get a little so into being healthy that they want to go organic or they want to go farm raised, this and that and this and that. If you want to do it that way, go ahead. I'm not going to say you have to. So it's really going to see, it's all a matter of what works for your budget, right? I can't tell somebody who has food stamps to buy organic and farm raised and all that stuff. I'm going to have to work with what works for their budget. So that the fish, the salmon, the trout, the mackerel, those are the animal base. The plant base is going to be, again, plants. So an omega-3 fatty acid will be flaxseed. So this is not very common to islanders or just Asian cultures. This is very, something different that's coming and becoming very popular. So you can try to use flax seeds as well. Let me just double check if I missed flax seeds, walnuts, canola oil, soybean oil. So, I already kind of mentioned that in the monounsaturated portion. So that's helpful, right? Because you're just stacking all these really helpful things back into your eating pattern. soluble fiber. I love talking about fiber, and I love to give this demonstration about, think about your arteries. Think about them as like hallways of your bloodstream. So what fiber does, specifically soluble fiber, look for that, soluble fiber. When you think of soluble fiber, think of like a janitor that's just kind of sweeping all the debris, sweeping everything from your arteries. So it's going to sweep it, and until it's, clear, or, we work with that, right? So trying to get that soluble fiber, some sources of soluble fiber, it's going to be like bananas, apples, berries. Again, those are kind of, the berries specifically are a little expensive. So what I like to do, I like to go to like a Costuless or like Costco, those bigger warehouse type stores. You can get a bigger bag, and while it's a bigger cost up front, you can spread that 4-pound bag over like a month span, and you don't have to worry about them rotting and getting all moldy in your fridge. So berries are going to be very helpful as well. Prune juice, I'm pretty sure that's something you're very familiar. On the vegetable side, we're talking broccoli. I did see Brussels sprouts, so those are becoming a little popular nowadays. Eggplants and okra. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is the plant sterols and stanols. Again, this is going to be something that just comes up very often. You might hear it on commercials. If you are moving, if you still like that that solid type of fat to spread on your bread or your toast, there's a great thing out there. Look at it in the market. There's margarine, and then it says plant sterols, plant stanols, and I'll include the name inside of the comments or the description of the video. So look for that, and really, again, you will find plant stanols and sterols already in your vegetable oils, in your whole grains, and then fruits as well. So really, we say a lot of these things like eat more fruits, eat more vegetables, eat more this and this of this type of oil, and when you kind of put it all together, it just makes sense. So I really hope that I was able to to explain better and to paint a clearer picture of how fruits and vegetables work, and how getting the good fats into your eating pattern, how that all works together. So next week, if there's any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer you. And then next week, it's going to be a really cool week. I'm going to have a friend, so it's not just going to be me, but my friend is going to come. She'll be talking about like ways to lower sodium. I know some people have expressed that they have high blood pressure, or they have hypertension. So this is going to be another exciting week to really kind of focus in on the heart. Okay, I hope you guys had a really great weekend. I know it's Sunday right now in the States or in Hawaii. Today it's Monday in Guam. So again, just take care, you guys. Be safe, wear your mask wherever and everything. But all right, I'll see you guys later.